Hello, this is Philip Myers at PEMI Consulting. Welcome, everyone. Today, we are going to take a closer look at the hidden costs of software subscriptions. As someone with an engineering background, I want to apply the financial logic we use in other areas to understand what these subscriptions really cost us. This presentation is intended for educational purposes and reflects my personal views. It's not financial advice, and you should consider your own situation when evaluating subscription costs. To explore these ideas further, there are some additional resources and videos on the cost of subscriptions on the last slide. These references cover similar topics from different perspectives and can provide further insights. To start, let's be clear. This discussion isn't about criticizing software or vendors. It's simply about applying standard economic reasoning to understand subscription costs. If you already understand lifecycle cost or discount rates, you're already understanding this problem. This is not a financial opinion. It's an application of an existing engineering tool set. These fees seem small and harmless, often just $10 or $12 a month, maybe up to $50, but together they might total around $141 per month. They feel manageable because they're treated as operating costs and rarely questioned, but no capital decision is triggered by them. None of these individually trigger review. That's the point. These fees feel harmless because they're small, treated as operating costs, and rarely questioned. No one thinks of them as capital decisions, so they slip under the radar, but if you add them up, they represent a significant ongoing cost. A subscription means no ownership, no equity, and no reduction in principal. You're making payments indefinitely, and you never own the asset. This is not a metaphor. It is an economic equivalence. I'll discuss a concrete case study in a few slides that shows how our paradigm of ownership has changed. In reality, subscriptions are like interest-only loans or renting capital forever. You're paying continually without ever building equity or ownership. If you think back to engineering economy, any repeating payment implies a present value. We use this logic for equipment and facilities all the time. We normally do this automatically, except here. The implied present value of a subscription is simple. Multiply the monthly cost by 12 and divide by the discount rate. This gives you the capital value you're effectively committing to. Using the formula from the previous slide, we determine the subscription's capital value that you are effectively committing to. This single subscription has an asset value of $4,600. This does not mean the software is worth $4,600. It means that it is what the payment structure commits you to. Would you approve $4,600 purchase this casually if this weren't broken into monthly payments? Most subscriptions never face this kind of question. The point is that by viewing it in monthly terms, we overlook the true capital commitment. The real issue isn't just one subscription, it's the stacking of many. Most professionals don't have just one subscription, they have several. When you add them all together, office tools, cloud storage, productivity apps, they can easily total hundreds of dollars a month, which translates into large hidden capital cost. A typical professional might have 8 or more subscriptions, averaging $25 a month each. That adds up quickly to around $200 a month or $2,400 a year. In capital terms, that's like committing to a large ongoing financial obligation without ever calling it one. When you total all these subscriptions at a realistic API for today, you're looking at an implied capital cost of around $37,000. This is a substantial hidden cost that's rarely recognized because it's broken into monthly payments rather than viewed as a single capital expenditure. So this behaves like a $37,000 capital asset, but it was never reviewed, approved, or questioned. Engineers and other professionals would never handle traditional capital expenses this way. When it comes to equipment purchasers, lifecycle costs are analyzed, maintenance is justified, and capital is reviewed. Subscriptions, however, bypass all those checks. Adobe was one of the pioneers in shifting from one-time software purchases to a subscription model with its Creative Cloud. While this move provided ongoing updates, it also sparked debate among users who felt locked into continuous payments. However, alternatives like Affinity offer comparable software without requiring a subscription, showing that there are still ownership-based options available. Adobe is not the problem. It's just a clear example of the model. Is this really just about cost, or is it about the underlying model of perpetual payments? The real issue is that subscription pricing is often a business model choice, not just a reflection of cost. The marginal cost of software is almost zero, which means the ongoing fees are more about creating a steady revenue stream than covering actual expenses. In contrast, public domain or open software shows that ownership still exists in some models. Tools like LibreOffice or GIMP have no ongoing subscription fees. While they're not identical to commercial tools, they highlight that it's possible to have software without perpetual payments. It's a reminder that subscriptions are a choice, not a necessity. The key difference is that maintenance fees are about preserving something you already own, while subscription fees are about continually paying for something you never own. Maintenance is a bounded, optional cost that keeps an owned asset in good shape. A subscription is an unbounded, mandatory cost that never results in ownership. Here's a simple test. Would you pay the implied upfront price all at once if it weren't broken into monthly fees? If the answer is no, then the subscription is likely overpriced, even if it feels small on a monthly basis. This capital test helps you to see the true cost. This is not about being anti-software, anti-vendor, or anti-modern tools. It's simply about understanding the true economic impact of subscriptions and applying the same financial logic we use elsewhere. Once you view subscriptions through this lens, you'll never look at them the same way again. This is about seeing subscription prices clearly and understanding their true capital value. It's about applying the math we already trust in other areas to the realm of software and services. Once you recognize subscriptions as an ongoing capital commitments, you can make more informed decisions. In conclusion, once subscriptions are viewed as capital commitments rather than small monthly expenses, it becomes difficult to look at them the same way again. This presentation does not approach subscriptions from a behavioral, lifestyle, or budgeting perspective. Instead, it treats recurring subscription fees as economic commitments and evaluates them using standard engineering economy concepts, such as present worth and capital equivalence. The same tools routinely applied to equipment, facilities, and long-term projects. The goal is not to argue against subscriptions, but to evaluate them correctly with the same financial discipline applied to any other long-term obligation. The resources here explore subscription costs from a personal finance, business, and general economic perspective. They do not analyze subscriptions using present worth or capital equivalence methods as this presentation does. Instead, they provide broader context on why subscription models often feel inexpensive while accumulating substantial long-term cost. Thank you.